Assalamualaikum, welcome to a new episode of Fullmetal Fukumi. So, as always, I'm going to start with some quick self PR to talk about my coffee blog where I'm translating seiyu interviews, game developers interviews, focusing on stuff I like, most notably Heaven Burns Red and other gacha games like Genshin, like Gaku and Idolmaster, Gakumasu, and then tons of series and stuff I like, Final Fantasy, the East series, Falcom stuff, Square Enix stuff, Furious stuff, Bandai Namco stuff like Super Robot Wars as well. So as always, I will put the link in the description below, and lately I most notably did an article and video on the English release of Uma Musume Pretty Derby. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. And as always, please like and subscribe to the video and follow me on Ko-fi. It's free to follow and to get some updates on the new articles. I'm publishing at least 2 to 3 articles per week. So on July 15th, the official Twitter account for Pretty Series made a tweet to announce that it's actually the 15th anniversary now of the Pretty series franchise, because the very first Pretty Prism game, the first Pretty Prism arcade game, was released by Takaratomi and Sin Sophia in 2010, so it was 15 years ago. Pretty Prism Miniskirt, the game which had Rizumu, Serena, and Canon, and you had Hibiki and Wataru from Codings as well, if I remember correctly, but you didn't have Aira and Mion yet, and you didn't have several other characters. And then they like fleshed out the universe, and they made the first anime adaptation, Pretty Prism Aurora Dream, in April 10/3/11, right? So yeah, hopefully they will do some kind of big events for the 15th anniversary, because sadly they never explained this, but I assume most older fans like me who've been following this Pretty series since the start. Pretty series contains Pretty Prism, and Pretty Prism sadly is the least popular of the franchise, but it's my favorite. And then you have Puripara, and then you have Kiratto Puri-chan, and then you have Watcha Purimaji, and now you have Himitsu no Aipuri, and Himitsu no Aipuri is currently in its second season and is still airing. So the series has been going for 15 years now, and yeah, the Himitsu no Aipuri arcade game is also extremely popular in Japan, and it actually surpassed the numbers that the Puripara arcade game used to do. So yeah, I guess it's mainly because Bandai Namco has left the market because they stopped doing Aikatsu arcade games, and right now the only Aikatsu things they're doing is VTubers with the Aikatsu Academy project on YouTube. So yeah, and I'm hoping that they do some kind of big event and actually include Pretty Prism in the events, because all the concert events and most of the events Pretty series does, they only do stuff starting Piripara, and a lot of older fans, we believe it's because of some rights problems, because even if it's the same company, back when they were doing Pretty Prism, it was still called Takaratomi Arts, and then they changed their names to just I think it was Takaratomi something else, I forgot, but maybe there's some kind of weird bureaucracy problem, like なんか大人の事情でなんか adult reasons, like there's some kind of problem. There's never Pretty Prism stuff in events, and there's been a lot of seiyu and a lot of staff have been commenting on the anniversary, and you most probably have Kanaga Yukiko sensei. Kanaga Yukiko is the original character designer of the games of Pretty series, and she's the one who actually drew the characters first, before Watanabe Akio, before Okama-san, etc. Before they did the character design for the anime adaptations, she's the one who drew the characters first, together with the producer Oba Shin. And and you have also Kato Daisuke, who is the game director of most of the arcade games of Pretty series. He was talking, it's very funny, like it's been 15 years already since Hachimitsu, since like Munekun, Taiken, etc. All this time he's talking, it's funny that this kind of Prism Jump, they became famous, or more like infamous, with the first King of Prism movie in 2016, but actually Hachimitsu, for example, was a Prism Jump was already available right from the Pretty Prism miniskirt game. So you have Kanaga Yukiko also saying, yeah, it's very funny, like it's Hachimitsu was already in the very first Pretty Prism game, but like but everyone, like no one thought it was weird or anything, so it's pretty funny that it suddenly exploded when King of Prism started in 2016. So yeah, really hoping they do some kind of big event or something. And yeah, ever since the official anniversary tweet or 15th anniversary has been published, you have tons of seiyuu, tons of stuff related to Pretty Series who've been sharing some of their memories, etc. And sadly, I don't have the time to translate all this, but maybe I will, maybe on an article. But on video, yeah, you just have, for example, Masotabi Akisaka Satomi, she said, I'm still waiting for a Prettyism event to happen, or like I'm gonna empty my schedule, like just call me for a plagiarism event. So yeah, hopefully they actually do something. Obviously, they're obviously going to release new merch and stuff, but I really hope they do something bigger. Like in King of Prison, maybe if they do, like, it's very funny because King of Prison is a sequel of Rainbow Life, but at some point it will probably end, and I wonder maybe they could try to, if Avex, they think it will make enough money, Avex and Takaratomi and Tatsunoko, maybe they could try making a fourth Pretty Rhythm series one day, like differently from Rainbow Life and Aurora Dream and Dear My Future, like a new universe again, and maybe do this with brand new characters and a brand new story, and directed by Hishida Kantoku again, and with the same writers, etc. Maybe this will happen one day, because nothing is impossible, and like, as long as it makes money, like, companies would greenlight anything, so it's not impossible that one day there's actually a new Pretty Rhythm series, or maybe they could do some kind of sequel as well, just like Pretty Cure, they've been doing these kind of adult sequels, like 20 years later, the characters are adults now. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these sequels because, like, I feel alienated from the characters going up, like, realizing that they're too different from me and they live in they have completely different ideas from me, etc. They don't talk about specific political subjects, obviously, because originally a kids anime. But like, when it's a kids anime, I don't think about this kind of thing. But when the characters grow up, inevitably end up thinking, you guys were calling yourselves champions of justice, and yet, like, you don't do this or don't do that. Like, I'm kind of weird in that regard. But anyway. So yeah, and speaking of the 15th anniversary of Pretty Series, there was also a 10th anniversary event for Idolmaster SideM this last weekend on July 13th, and it was called the 10th anniversary live, 10th anniversary stage, and they most probably announced collaboration between King of Prism You Endless Call, which is the latest King of Prism movie currently in Japanese cinemas, and with Idolmaster SideM. And I'm wondering what kind of collaboration is going to be, because I've been thinking something like this could happen for years, especially back in 2022, right? When they first did the Dream Collaboration Festival between Bandai Namco and Takaratomi, they got together to do the Pretty Series and Aikatsu 3D Live. And I think this is probably going to be, if this is big, maybe it's going to be, like, at least this will be new merch. And I don't think they're going to do a concert or anything, because it will be too big, especially because they say it's a collaboration specifically with the movie, with the Endless Call, King Tours, King of Prism, You Endless Call, Minna de Atsumare Prism Tours movie. It's not a collaboration with all of King of Prism, so I don't think it will be a concert or anything. So yeah, and they tease the characters are going to appear, I guess. Maybe only these 6, so maybe there are going to be more. And they said some more information will be coming on a later date, and they haven't really said anything yet so far. So yeah, probably some merch. And like, if they actually dream big, maybe they'll actually do a concert, but if they do a concert, it won't be with the seiyuu, it will definitely be a 3D live, a virtual live with just the characters who've got voiced beforehand by the seiyuu, and it's pre-recorded, and they play this virtual live, just like the Dream Collaboration Festival in 2022. So yeah, it's very cool that Bandai Namco and Takaratomi are still working together to make some project with the 2 series, because you also have the Aikatsu and Puripara movie that's going to release later this year as well. So, by the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, I wrote an article on my thoughts on the review of the movie a few months ago, so you should check it out if you haven't yet. But yeah, I'm pretty, to be honest, I don't know that much about SideM because I never really got into it. I know about it pretty much since back when it's got a little bit popular, not back when it started, because it started back on Nico Nico, etc. I can't claim that I was familiar with that back then, but like I remember one of the Idolmaster Xbox games. I think it was on Xbox 3064. They had the Jupiter, right? Which was, I think it was one of the first SideM groups. Like, so that's when I started to learn about SideM. But before that, I didn't know. So it was maybe like around 8 years ago, 9 years ago, I don't know. But I never really got into it. So I gotta try to get into the franchise and learn more about it, especially because I just want to learn more about Josei Miki in general. So yeah. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is how it's the 14th anniversary of Dirty Pair. Dirty Pair, which is like one of the original Girls with Guns, like action comedy series, science fiction, an incredible series you should check out if you never did. So originally Dirty Pair is a novel, it's a light novel, and then you had the anime adaptation. So it's the 14th anniversary of the anime adaptation, of the television anime adaptation. And they're going to do an art exposition in Japan, in Tokyo, from October 10th to November 3rd. And for the occasion, they released a new key visual by the character designer of the anime adaptation with Dokite Tsukasa. He worked on all the Dirty Pair franchise, all the anime adaptations, like the TV series and then the OVAs, etc. And he worked on a lot of other popular OVAs as well, Genmu Senkireda, Giant Core, Cream Lemon, etc. And a lot of popular 80s series, he worked on them as well, either as most notably as animation director and key animation, but he did the character design on all the Dirty Pair anime adaptations. And originally, Dirty Pair is a light novel, and the light novel has illustration by Yasuhiko Yoshikazu, who is known for Gundam, right? So this is the original illustrations, and then you have the anime style from Dokite Tsukasa. So it's pretty different. I really like both. And when I was a kid, I watched the TV series in French, and I need to rewatch the series in Japanese one day because I never watched it with the Japanese dub. And speaking of the Japanese dub, you also have Yuri's Seiyu, Shimazu Saeko. She voiced Yuri in Dirty Pair. She also voices Glycine in Sakura Taisen 3. And she also voiced Kodachi in Ranma. And she did some tweets like to celebrate the 14th anniversary. So she's pretty happy, like it's been 40 years, etc. She's happy, like it's such a loved series that everyone remembers it, etc. And you have a lot of people who shared some fan art as well. And you have also Dirty Pair complete artworks, which is going to release in September as well. So hopefully, I'm not sure if I be able to buy this myself, but I'm really, really interested. And then you also have, where did I put it? You have Kotobuki Tsukasa Sensei. Kotobuki Tsukasa, who is the author of Saber Marionette J, and who is very friends with Araizumi Rui, and who made, in a way, his style is like a parody of Slayers, right? It's like a parody of Araizumi Sensei, and he's one of the most popular character designers of the 90s, and he made a special illustration as well. It was back in May, actually, but he retweeted it for the 14th anniversary, that we're in July. So yeah, really, really cool illustration. And yeah, if you never watched Dirty Pair, you should definitely watch it. Like, if you like Licorice Rico, this is basically Rico 40 years ago. Like, you should watch this if you like Rico. And like, if you like action comedy, like Girls with Guns, lighthearted, sci-fi, etc. Like, it's one of the best series of all time, in my opinion. And I need to one day try and read the novels, inshallah, because I never did. And like, I think I saw most of the movies and OVAs, and you have the alternative version, Dirty Pair Flash, from the like early 90s. I never watched this series. I need to try and watch it. And it was with character design by Kimura, who sadly passed away like maybe 10 years ago. He was also the character designer for Code Geass and for Gao Gaigar, etc. Kimura Takahiro, who sadly passed away. Like it was like in 2023. He worked on Code Geass. Because the original character design is Clump, and then he did the character design. He reworked the designs for the anime adaptations, right? So yeah, he worked on Space Dandy, on Gundam, on tons of stuff. He was an extremely popular character designer and animator, especially for Gao Gaigar. And yeah, he sadly passed away. So this was like a new version of Dirty Pair. I never watched it. I should try and watch it one day. So yeah, like Dirty Pair, like it's one of the best series of all time. Like if you're too young to have ever heard about the series, and if you like some stuff like Licorice Recall, especially, like this is like Licorice Recall, but 40 years before it, and like much better in my opinion. So you should check it out if you never did. Like I'm really excited for this. For these fans, probably in this kind of events or art expositions, you can't take photos, right? But hopefully fans will talk a bit about what's there, and I'll try to get the art book as well. So the next thing on the menu is you've probably heard about how Bandai Namco has made a new trademark for Tales of Destiny, which was the second Tales of game in the series released in 1997 in Japan. And yeah, they made a new trademark for Tales of Destiny in June 30th, and then it became public on July 8th. So back when I used to work at DualShockers and make news every day, I used to check Chisai Watch, because Chisai Watch is a bot checking trademarks in Japan. All trademarks, they are public after 2 weeks after they are filed, and this is a bot, and they publish all trademarks, and I used to check this with Twitter lists. And now that I don't have a full-time position in games media, I'm not checking anymore, but sometimes you hear about it from fans, etc. So yeah, Bandai Namco has announced a few weeks ago at Tales of Festival 2025 that the next Tales of Remaster game will be announced this summer, so everyone is waiting for what kind of announcement it will be. And maybe because of the Tales of Destiny trademark, some people are thinking maybe it's going to be Tales of Destiny, but I'm really not getting my hopes up, because I feel like this will be a way too good choice for Bandai Namco nowadays. Like Bandai Namco nowadays, it feels like they're only trying to do strict minimum when it comes to certain series, and when it comes to Tales of series especially, and when it comes to Super Botwas as well, they're taking, like, they had to rebuild all the engine for Super Botwas. Why? So that's why it took so much time to release, and it seems like it's the development team at Bandai Namco Forge, it seems like a very small team, etc. And so yeah, it feels like they only do the strict minimum nowadays to save money, as much money as possible, after some fiascos like Blue Protocol, which is an MMORPG that didn't work out at all, and sadly didn't even release outside Japan. And inshallah, one day I want to do an article or video to explain what was wrong with the game, why did Bandai Namco failed to capitalize on the game, like why was it unpopular, like despite 5 years of development, and like everyone was waiting for it, and what did they do wrong, etc. As a side note, one thing they did actually really good, really well in this game is black characters and customization with black characters, and you can even have actual black people here as well. And so yeah, sadly the game didn't work out, and inshallah one day, if I'm paid, if I manage to pitch this somewhere, I want to write in detail what happened with the game, what went wrong, etc. Then anyway, in my opinion, because of big fiascos like Blue Protocol, and they lost a lot of money in the last few years, Bandai Namco, they're trying to take as least risks as possible. They're only doing strict minimum, so I'm really not expecting a Tales of Destiny remaster. Like, it will be a too good move. Like, if you look at the Tales of series, in my opinion, like, the Tales of series are always extremely good, and sadly, I really hope Tales of Destiny gets a remaster one day, because even if it did release outside Japan, they never released Tales of Destiny Director's Cut, which was a remake of the game on PS2, and it's an incredible remake, and it's an incredible game. It was released in 2008, so nearly 10 years after the original, and it's an incredible game, but it never got released outside Japan. And it kind of sucks, in my opinion. A lot of people, they only know the late Tales of series games, because after Tales of Destiny you had the Fantasia and Alikiri Dungeon, which is also a really, really good game that never released outside Japan as well, because it's like a sequel. You have a remake of Tales of Fantasia. Inside it, you also have a sequel. And Tales of Eternia, Tales of Fandom, Tales of Destiny 2 as well was never released outside Japan. I really hope they release it one day, but I'm really not getting my hopes up. Like, I have zero hopes about it. But it's not for me, because I can just play it in Japanese. I want these games released so more people know about the older games in the Tales of series and the golden age of the Tales of series, because in my opinion, this is like the golden age, and you can continue here, like Summon Lineage, Samona's Lineage. I never played this Tales of the World. Tales of Symphonia is a really, really good game story-wise, in my opinion, but in everything else, in all those aspects, in my opinion, the game isn't very good. Like, obviously, when I played it in 2004, I really liked it, but I think the game is really lacking. And I don't mean that it aged poorly. I hate this term. I never say a game aged poorly. In my opinion, if a game is good, it will always be good. And if you think a game is bad 20 years later, it's just that it wasn't that good in the first place. And I don't believe in aging poorly stuff, etc. And Tales of Symphonia, it was the first game in 3D they made in full 3D, as far as I know, right? So the battle system is very lacking. Like, there's a lot of issues with the battle system. There's a lot of issues with the AI of the allies characters. But the story is like masterpiece. Like, the story is the one thing, incredible story, but everything else is kind of like meh, because it was the first full 3D game, and the 3D models, etc., are very simple. And then you have Tales of Rebirth, which was never released outside Japan either, but it recently got a fan translation, right? Tales of Rebirth, excellent game as well on PS2. It was like still the golden age, right? And Tales of Legendia, I never played this. I need to play it out one day. Tales of the Abyss is also like part of the golden age. Tales of the Tempest was like a game no one liked, and it was really, really bad. And Tales of the World, Radiant Anthology. I need to play this one day as well. Tales of Fandom, Tales of Innocence. I really, really like it, in my opinion. Like, it's underrated. I really, really like Tales of Innocence. I only played the original DS version. I never played the remaster R with the brand new characters. But like, really, really good cast, really original story, really good teams, etc. There's also a very interesting character voiced by Shishido Rumi, who also voiced June in Pretty Reason, who also voiced Puni, what was her name again? In Ojamajo Doremi, the purple girl in Ojamajo Doremi. Tales of Symphonia Ratatosk no Kishi is like, it's mediocre. And Tales of Vesperia, and in my opinion, Tales of Hearts as well is good. Tales of Vesperia is very good. Hearts R is extremely good as well. And Tales of Graces is really, really good as well. And in my opinion, the golden age of the Tales of series, it ends with Tales of Graces. And then, starting Tales of Xillia, it's when things started going downhill, in my opinion. And that doesn't mean that Tales of Xillia is a bad game. It's still a good game, but like, it has a lot of flaws, and it has a lot of weird things. And that's also when they started doing the multi-artist, because usually the Tales of series, all the games always had either Inomata Mitsumi, or either Kosuke Fujishima, or either, I think it was Watamoto, I forgot his name, of the third character designer. But starting Xillia, they started mixing the character designs, which in my opinion is a weird idea, because it doesn't fit at all. And Xillia is also lacking in terms of side quests and stuff. Xillia and Xillia 2, it's like, there's a friend of mine, a streamer I really like, called Begito. Is like my favorite French streamer, like one of the few French streamers I actually watch, and he's possibly, I think, in my opinion, is like the most knowledgeable person about the Tales of series in France, and also about the Kiseki series as well. So he regularly talks about the Tales of series, and one of the many things we agree on is how, in a way, Tales of Xillia, Tales of Exilia, it's like if it was one game that they cut in two, because Tales of Exilia 2, it has tons of side quests, tons of side contents, and Meanwhile, Tales of Scylla 1, it has nothing. And Tales of Scylla 2 is also a much shorter game, and it's like a direct, it's not exactly a direct sequel, because like I'm not gonna spoil it, but like it's funny, like in my opinion, it should have been one game. And worst case scenario, and the thing I'm expecting the most, is the next remaster is actually going to be Tales of Exilia. I don't think they're going to remaster Destiny, sadly. Like, it's going to be Tales of Exilia 1, Tales of Exilia 2 sold separately for like $50 each. And like, it's a very, and maybe, hopefully, there will be good remasters at least, but yeah, sadly, I'm really not getting my hopes up for our Destiny remaster or for our Abyss remaster. Those are very big choice, because we had Symphonia, and then we had Gracies, right? And so a lot of people are thinking maybe they're going to remaster Abyss. It's like very likely as well, but in my opinion, maybe Abyss, but it's going to be either Abyss or Exilia. I really don't think it's going to be Destiny. If it's Destiny, I will be extremely pleasantly surprised, but sadly, like, I don't think current Bandai Namco, like, they only take the wrong choices. Like, it feels like they only do the strict minimum, the bare minimum. Like, I really don't think it will be a Tales of the Destiny remaster. And if it's Destiny, in the hypothesis that it's Destiny, there's also the question of, is it going to be the original Destiny or the Destiny remake, director's cut from PS2? So hopefully, if they actually remaster Destiny, they should go for the remake, right? They should remaster director's cut. So hopefully they actually do this if it happens. But yeah, like, Tales of is like a series that is extremely important in Japanese pop culture, but sadly, most people outside Japan, they don't really realize this, because a lot of people started the series 20 years ago with Symphonia, or even more recently with Exilia or Zestilia, etc. And in my opinion, like, the golden age, like I was saying, the golden age ended with Gracies, and then starting Exilia, it's not like it's a bad game, but it's much more lacking compared to the past games in the series. So, Zestilia as well, like, a lot of people don't know this, but Zestilia, back when it first released in Japan on PS3 in 2015, it was buggy, it wasn't good, like, it had a lot of issues, and these issues was corrected with the international release. But yeah, Tales of Zestilia is like the beginning of the end for real, in my opinion. And then Berseria is like the final game, and in my opinion, Tales of Arise is a brand new series. It doesn't mean that it's a bad game. I think Tales of Arise is a good game, but there's a lot of weird things, in my opinion, that at the end of the day, the Tales of series is pretty much over. And this is like a new series. Like I always say with my friends, we jokingly say, this is the Tales of Arise series. And like, the Tales of Arise actually sold over 3 million copies, right? So they will definitely continue in the same direction. So sadly, I really don't think the way the series used to do things will come back. They want to do things more spectacular, more AAA, more mainstream, etc. And like, the next game, whenever the next game happens, it will probably be much more like Tales of Arise than other games. And one thing that struck me the most with Arise is how the skits in Arise, they're super long, and they fail at comedic timing, and it's very different from the past games in the series, where you had sometimes extremely short skits with extremely short, hard-hitting jokes. Like in Tales of Arise, all the skits are super long. The lack of 2D portraits, because they're using the 3D models, was a huge mistake in my opinion, because the 2D portraits are much more expressive, and the thing is, with the 2D portraits, they show all the characters at the same time, but with the 3D models in Arise, you only see the character speaking. So this is a big change. This is like a major flaw in my opinion, because you don't see the changes in expressions when the characters are speaking with each other, etc. So yeah, like, another thing I want to talk about the importance of the Tales series is how there's a lot of seiyuu, very popular seiyuu. They already talked in the past about how the Tales of series was a major thing for them. And for example, Kaji Yuki, who is like one of the most popular seiyuu of all time, like nowadays, thanks to voicing Eren in Shingeki, right? Eren in Attack on Titan. back when Inomata Musume passed away in 2024, he tweeted how he used to play Tales of Eternia in middle school, and how this is thanks to playing Tales of Eternia that he decided to become a seiyuu, that he wanted to become a seiyuu. And similarly, Matsuoka Yoshitsugu, who is like one of the most popular seiyuu as well, is Kirito in Sword Art Online. Back when Tales of Arise, and it was seeing low in Tales of Arise, right? Before Tales of Arise was getting released, they used to do live streams. They used to do live streams to talk about the game before it released, right? And in one of those live streams, he talked about how he actually used to play Tales of Eternia as well, and it's like one of the main reasons why he decided to become a seiyuu, because he was really moved by the performance of the seiyuu, and in particular, he was a big fan of Ishida Akira, who is like Asran in Gundam Seed, who is like recently Akaza in Kimetsu. Like most kids nowadays, younger anime fans, they know him for Akaza and Kimetsu in Demon Slayer, but he's been voicing for like 40 years, and he was also Riddo, the protagonist of Tales of Eternia, Ishida Akira. And this is like a big influence in pop culture, and like a lot of people, they play this game and they decide to become seiyuu. And that's why he said Matsuoka Yoshitsugu, back in the Tales of Arise streams, back when the game was about to release, he talked about this and how Tales of Eternia and Ishida Akira is like what made him want to become a seiyuu. So yeah, and Tales of Eternia, it was character designed by Inomata Musume, who sadly passed away in 2024. And they released a new art book of Inomata Musume in June. So if you're interested, just check it out. And I need to try to get my hands on it as well. I'm not sure if it's only new or old illustrations, but I need to check it out one day. Inomata Musume, who was like an incredible character designer and incredible animator as well, because in the 80s, a lot of people in France, they know this, but around the world, less people know this, but Inomata-san used to work on tons of 80s series, and most probably on Senseiya. On the early episodes of Senseiya, she did some really crazy animation, and of course she did Genmu Senki Reda, which was also a huge influence on pop culture. Together with Dream Hunter Rem, it was like in the early 80s, what kind of popularized Moe bikini armor even more, because obviously you had Star Wars, you had Xena, you had Conan the Barbarian, etc. This stuff was already popular in Japan. But with Genmu Senki Reda and Dream Hunter Rem in 95, both of years they released right around the same time. And it was a huge influence on pop culture, and it really popularized like moe designs with bikini armor, right? So Inomata Musume was a huge influence for that, and a character design on tons of stuff, on Brain Powered, on Kaze no Tairiku, on like tons of games, tons of Tales of games, tons of anime, etc. And one thing I really liked Inomata Musume for is how she used to design a lot of black characters, and in Tales of Eternia especially, you see of Mereji, which is extremely cute. This is one of the reasons why I really hope there's one day a Tales of Eternia remaster, because personally I don't really care that much about remasters personally for myself, because I can just emulate the game, I can just play it in Japanese, etc. But I want remasters to localize the games so more people, they know about the golden age of the Tales of series, because in my opinion, like after starting Exedia, it wasn't the golden age anymore. I want people to play Destiny, I want people to play Destiny 2, I want people to play Eternia, I want people to play Fantasia, etc. I want people to play Legendia and Abyss, etc. So inshallah, one day there's a remaster of these games. Hopefully I will be able to play them with the kids in my family, with my nieces, etc. Especially because of Mereji and other black characters in the older Tales of games, right? And another thing about Tales of Arise, speaking of which, is that they removed the multiplayer, and this really sucks, because even in Syria, even in Zestiria, and even in Berseria, they kept the multiplayer, the co-op multiplayer, like up to 4 players. You can pick a controller, plug in, and play. Like during the battles, you can play with your friends, with your family, with your loved one, etc. And starting Arise, they removed the multiplayer aspect, and I probably think that the next game in the series, because it's going to be Tales of Arise, the series, they will probably won't bring back multiplayer as well. So this is also one reason why I think remasters are important. Yeah, like I really doubt Tales of Destiny remaster is actually going to happen, but if it does, I will be very, very, very pleasantly surprised.